The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation or Stewart Title. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title is here to inform, entertain, and inspire you. Host Bill Napick from Stewart Title will talk with guests about what really matters when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title starts right now. Here's your host, Bill Napick.
And welcome to the show, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. This is where America tunes in to hear great real estate talk, business coaching, all kinds of sales tips. We're going to have that for you today. We're going to talk to a realtor, no question about that. We have the sales professor coming back on. We have Alexa Fischer coming on. People may know her. She's an actress, a business coach, and you're going to get some great ideas from her, and you're going to get some great ideas from our first guest. She is a top producing realtor right here in the fourth largest city in the United States, Houston, Texas. Her name is Beth Cassidy, and she just joined one of the premier brokerages around the nation, Martha Turner Sotheby's International Realty. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here again.
Yes, it's great. We brought you back because we know that you had an announcement for everybody today. So let's tell people about your change, and you're now with Martha Turner.
Yes. I had previously had Cassidy Properties, which was the luxury division at Oiselle. And I talked with Cedar Youngblood, who I used to work with at Greenwood King, who coerced me to come over to Sotheby's. And it wasn't really a hard decision because of their international and relocation presence that they have and the luxury brand that they have. I also kind of interviewed my clients and said, if you were to sell right now, who would you go with? You know, I was typically a buyer's agent with my higher end clients, and they said Sotheby's for the marketing.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, see, you were taking the temperature. Certainly, Martha Turner Sotheby's has an incredible reputation and the international presence and also the connections around the United States. But I like that you were checking your own client base and said, hey, what's going on? What would you do? So you got that feedback to go forth with this decision.
Yeah, and they very much said that they would because of all the marketing tools they have and the fact that people can see them, the listings all over the world, you know, which I found out also recently that 45% of the buyers right now are out of Houston.
Well, and that's true. Here in Houston, we do have buyers from all over the world, not just buyers, but some of those buyers are investing in properties.
Right.
In fact, a lot of them, I'm hearing, buy the properties from other countries, and they don't even see them, but they have a property manager manage the property, and thus it's been a great investment for them, I'm hearing.
Yes, this is true. And I have I've talked about before, some investors myself who are constantly saying, what can you find me off the market? What do you have that's non-MLS? And I have some commercial deals coming up now, too, that we can get on LoopNet as well. And you just the presence of everybody seeing it, people coming in from across the country can see these properties. So that helps a lot than just having on the local MLS.
Well, you have a great feel for the marketplace, just like you're talking about, talking to people, getting the pulse. But you've been doing that everywhere you've been, and you really have a feel for what's going on. So tell people about how you stay right there in front of the marketplace and develop your business.
Well, I'm a huge networker. I'm with people. I'm out and about all the time.
All the time.
Like I told you, I don't sleep much. And I just have been very social my whole life. It's helped that I've been in Houston my whole life, and I'm always going to events and meeting people through people. I really haven't, to be honest, been a big marketer as far as mail outs and doing this type of thing that I'm going to do now with my new announcement. It's just the history of knowing people all these years and them referring friends, and it grows and grows. A lot of people have come to me saying, I want to get into real estate because it looks so glamorous and easy. You know, you just pop a house out there and people come. It's not the truth.
Drive a nice car and wear nice clothes.
Yeah,
it's real easy, right?
No. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes behind it that they don't see, all the years that I had to supplement income. And, you know, it takes time. It takes time to get to it.
And now that you're at Martha Turner Sotheby's International Realty, I would expect, and I think you do have more tools at your fingertips. And in fact, you probably have a bit of a learning period to find out exactly all the things that you're going to be able to use, how you're going to be able to use them to serve your buyers and sellers.
I'm still adjusting right now. I'm still kind of in transition. I had to get my listings over to them. But the nice thing is it's like a machine. You know, you've got the IT department, you've got an attorney on site, you've got an advertising department, accounting department. It's a big corporate situation, which makes you feel good because if anything was to go wrong, of course, you've got all these people behind you looking at everything and you feel secure. I like that.
Yes, it takes teamwork to make the dream work. I say that all the time. And you do have an incredible team. In fact, Paul Killian will be on the show here in a few weeks with your company. So that's going to be exciting to see some of the new things that are on the horizon. I know he has some interesting things to talk about at that time, again, a few weeks from now in May. So also, tell us some of the other things as far as the marketplace, Beth. You are out there. Certainly, I know the office that you're at is inside the loop, and you live not far from there.
Yeah.
But tell us about the marketplace that you're in right now. What's the feel you're getting?
It's booming. Like I said before, there's so many people moving here. The prices are going up. I've only been over there a couple weeks and got a couple really big listings because I was there. So that says a lot, I believe, for the company. Really can't keep up. I'm trying to. Things are going fast, really fast. A few years back, I remember when people were making multiple offers on properties, a couple of my clients would, say, tell them right now, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, don't you want to go inside first and make sure it smells okay and everything's good? And they were just like in such a panic because there was such competition. And it seems to be starting to get like that again.
So we're starting to see that kind of scenario, that kind of...
multiple offers.
I'm hearing about that.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
And for a while that wasn't happening. Now it's picking up to that again. And so, you get really busy.
So then if you were, let's say someone's out there that's wanting to buy property, they may want to give you a call. Let's tell people your phone number, though.
832-646-2982.
One more time.
832-646-2982.
All right. So as we talk about that buyer that may call you or someone just listening, thinking about buying, well, how would you advise them right now as we're starting to talk about multiple offers and things like that? So how do you prepare? I come to you, Beth. Okay, I want to buy a house, $700,000. How do you prepare me for that experience?
Well, first make sure that you're approved for that amount.
I have the money. I'd mind even.
But we
let's
have
say
to
it's
have
cash.
we have to have a lender, unless you're paying cash,
Okay.
to show that. When you're walking in the door and you're in a competitive situation, you've got to have that letter stating that you indeed can get this loan. That's on the buyer's side. Then we just go out and, I send them listings. I'll put them on a drip where they can see everything, whether it's 4 o'clock in the morning and something pops up, they can see it right away and make an offer, go out and see it, that day or as soon as possible. That's on the buyer's side. Now, on the seller's side, I am certified in home staging. So I'll come over to the house and make sure that it's decluttered and everything's neutral and minimized so people can see the house and not all their stuff. Because a lot of times that's a conflict. If somebody walks in and sees a red room and they don't like red, they'll be like, walk out the door.
I don't like this. That's right. And there's so many things to consider. And I would think I don't know, I guess a lot of people as we go through life, we just collect stuff. So that's probably one of the biggest
Knickknacks,
things.
yes.
A lot of clutter.
Family photos even. They can't visualize. Some people can't visualize themselves there when they see, that person living there and their kids are like, oh, I can't see myself.
So they really need to neutralize the
Yes.
home, or if I'm selling my home, I need to neutralize it. Even when it gets down to thinking about pets, we have to have that as a consideration. Make sure the pets aren't there.
They have to be up so they don't attack somebody walking in the door.
That's another thing. I would have to advise Elvis there. I have too, but Elvis is a little temperamental. So, but that's very interesting. So what are some of the other things that we should think about now as far as geographically, the way you serve your clients? Based right there at Martha Turner's inside the loop. Mm-hmm. Tell us the other areas that you go to.
Oh, everywhere.
You're everywhere.
Conroe, Kingwood,
Conroe.
Cypress.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I had a listing out there quite a while ago. I'm getting one out in the Woodlands. So I'm just traveling everywhere.
And the other thing that's interesting when we think about a company like Martha Turner Sotheby's International Realty, top-notch. People know about the company all over the world. As we discussed, a great tool set for the agents, also serving buyers and sellers in a magnificent way. However, we think about this, it doesn't really cost more to use the best, does it, Beth?
No, not at all. It's the seller's choice. And to me personally, I've never seen marketing like that anywhere else. So they want their home, whether it's $300,000 or $3 million, they want it to be presented in that fashion. I mean, the brochures, the websites, the drone now we're using on properties, it's just amazing.
The drone?
Yeah.
The drones are finding their way into every profession. Tell us about the drone in real estate.
I wish I could show it to you. I think I did. Maybe I did. I have somebody I'm working with in Austin that did a friend of mine's lake house, and it is the most amazing video. where they come on top and coming down through the water over the top, and the music's just phenomenal, and it's just beautiful.
It's funny you mentioned the drones. There's one, I forget the name of it, but there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of great ones out there, but there was one that caught my attention, and this thing is, you can pack it up. It's very portable, and it can fly. It's got all these devices on it, so it doesn't bump into things. You can't lose it, and I guess it's about $9.99, and you have yourself a drone. But they look like a lot of fun, but also very useful in real estate and so many other professions.
You can see the property from a helicopter view. It's just amazing how nice that it looks. And you're seeing them more and more. But then you add the music to it, and it's just like watching a movie.
Sounds like fun. Yeah. Hey, well, Beth, with the last minute in this segment, what are some of the other things you want to tell people about?
Well, I've touched on the fact that I'm certified in home staging. I also work with some top designers here in Houston. And I think I've mentioned this before. If you want to come in and make your home a little more than just staged, if you want to have new granite countertops, flooring, I have people that I refer that can do all that for you as well. Some people go, I think I want to sell. And once I do all that, then they're like, well, it looks so good. I just think I might stay here,
There you go. Well, that's true. But the beauty of once you have your home staged, you can live in it and you can enjoy it a little bit more. And then should you have to sell it or want to sell it for whatever reason, an opportunity comes along in life, it's ready to go, right?
When it's on the market, people have to be aware of the fact that if they're not home, they got to make sure certain things are looking a certain way. The beds are made, the dogs are put up, things aren't laying around that they don't want people to see. It gets crazy sometimes where they're getting, showing after showing. We're talking if it's on a Supra and not a accompanied showing. Then they have some preparation. If not, you could have 10 people in there one day looking at things.
Indeed. Beth, let's tell people how they can reach you once again, please.
It's Beth Cassidy, 832-646-2982. And I'm getting used to my new email, beth.sothebyshomes.com.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Beth Cassidy with Martha Turner, Sotheby's International Realty. We are going to take a short break and come right back with even more. Stay with us.
Stewart Title has been serving Texas for over 120 years. A Texas treasure, Stewart Title's longevity is a testimony to superior service, innovation, and knowing what their customers want. Recent surveys show that 92% of respondents want secure online tracking tools to help them during the closing process. Stewart Title offers the most robust and secure system to track transactions online available today. To learn more, contact Stewart Title at one of their many offices around the city. Stewart Title, online at stewart.com. That's STEWART.com.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. The show marches on. Indeed, it does. And I'm a big student. I do my best to communicate properly. Sometimes I make an error. That is correct. However, being a student of communications, radio, and presentations of all sorts, I think is very interesting. I ran across somebody. YouTube is phenomenal. I ran across somebody named Alexa Fischer. She is an actress. She's a coach. She helps people. She was recently on the Today Show, and you'll get to hear this interview with her. But one of the things the clip that stood out to me that I would recommend to all of you, go to Alexa Fischer, just like the name sounds, go to YouTube. You will find short videos to help you in communicating with body language, conversation, all these things. And the one I really like is about vocal fillers. As you hear people on the radio like me and everybody else that's a guest here, sometimes vocal fillers, those are the things when we're talking to people doing a presentation on the radio or elsewhere, we say ahs, ums, you knows. We don't even know we're saying them. I would suggest go to Alexa Fischer. She has a great little presentation about that, and we learn ways to be better communicators and to eliminate those vocal fillers, because when you use those, they stand in the way of whatever message you want to bring forth. So check that out. But right now, here's Alexa Fischer. And we are with Alexa Fischer. She is an actress, speaker, and a communication leadership coach. Alexa, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And that's just putting it mildly. You help people all day long on the internet, in coaching, and even with your great acting. You help people communicate well, and it's just fascinating. Let's tell people about what you do.
Sure. So I started a signature program called Ignite Confidence, how to create a 1,000-watt presence. And it stems from this idea that we all have this light that's inside of us. You know, have you ever heard the phrase, they just light up a room? That I'm sure you have.
I have, and I also know when a room is lit up and when it's diminished as well.
True. Well, it's this idea that when we get out of our own way, which is meaning overcome our fears and our limited beliefs, we connect with that light. And when we do it intentionally, we amplify it so that someone can consciously walk into a room or, let's say, be at an open house, and just by standing there in their generous, open, friendly presence, they make everybody else feel better. They create a natural attraction that people want to be near them. They want to talk to them. They notice them in a crowded room. That's what having a 1,000-watt presence really is. And when I teach people, that's at the core of all of my work, helping people overcome those limited beliefs so they can ignite that presence, that 1,000-watt presence.
And I'd like to reference your website so people can follow along. It is Alexa Fischer, FISCHER.com. They could find out about that and so much more, this 1,000-watt presence. You also have a podcast, but you have so much. And let's talk a minute, as you mentioned, the realtor at an open house. As far as real estate professionals go, you think about what you've already described really stems from our mindset. It's not talking about we're not being overbearing or pushy or any of that. We don't want to overbear them with this light that we broadcast. However, it is our mindset, and people can pick up where we are, and we have the ability to influence how they perceive us and how we can help them.
Absolutely. Now, I've had the pleasure of working with real estate agents here in Los Angeles, some of the top performers. And what we go back to is the basics, which is, for myself, when I'm selecting a real estate agent, and we've, purchased and sold a few homes, when I was looking for someone to work with, I wanted to like them. I wanted to be with them. I wanted to trust them. We do business with individuals we like and trust. So your mindset is that first connection. Your energy is that first connection to a prospective client. And while it goes without question that you need to be skilled at what you do and more than competent, you need to be great at what you do. But the relationship is everything. And as you grow your business, a huge part of your business is going to come from referrals. So, when you're dealing with clients, they're obviously in a very stressful situation. Buying and selling a home is probably one of the most frightening things that somebody can do. There's a lot on the line. So when you present yourself as someone who can be calm, confident, trusted, friendly, available, fill in all the wonderful positive adjectives you can, that is exactly the type of person that you want to guide you through that process.
You are exactly right. And you said it so well in a special way when you said, I wanted to like that person, because that's right. We know that, especially in a real estate transaction, you're going to have a relationship with that person, a business relationship, but you want to like doing business. It's such an important thing. And yes, we do look for that. Now, let me ask you this. As far as a real estate professional or even any other sales professional, the idea of public speaking. Now, I define public speaking as if I'm talking to more than one person, that's two people, that would be public speaking. Now, anything beyond that most certainly is. It could be 1,000,000, 1,000, 150. But I also tell the real estate professionals that when they give, say, a listing presentation to a husband and wife, to a family, that in a way they're giving a presentation, and that's like public speaking. Give us a word, a bit about public speaking and your ideas there.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And I often tell people that you need to practice public speaking in low-stakes situations. So for many real estate agents, the listing presentation is kind of high stakes. They want the job. They want to make sure they make a great impression. They want to seal the deal. But you can take a very not low-stakes situation like giving a toast at a family function, and you can actually practice the same blueprint for what you need to do, which starts with how do you want to make the audience feel? So I like to sort of set an intention. So, of course, with the listing presentation, maybe it's I want to make them feel that they can trust me, that I'm knowledgeable, that I'm experienced, set your very specific intention. And you can do the same with the toast. I want to make my sister feel appreciated at her, well, I would say a wedding is a high stakes situation, but just set an intention for something that's low stakes. And literally it can be around your family dinner table. So if you want to acknowledge your wife, which will seem totally weird. No one needs to know that you're practicing, by the way. But you say, you know what, I'll do it in my own life. I'm going to acknowledge my husband in front of my kids. Low stakes situation, but I'm going to think about how I want to make the person feel. I'm going to plan in advance what I'm going to say. So that means whether it's writing it down or thinking through the thoughts that you want to communicate. And you want to be able to commit to when you're going to actually do it. These simple things you can practice in a low-stakes situation, like a toast at the family dinner table, and it will give you the same process and experience and practice that you would need at a listing presentation. If you do not practice in everyday situations, it makes those times where the stakes matter too, I don't say too risky or too amplified, but you don't have enough, you haven't practiced enough. So the more you practice, the more confident you are to deliver when it really counts.
No question about it. You must, the greatest of speakers, always practice. And I would add one more
Always.
thing as far as practicing. Record yourself. I have an iPhone, and no matter what phone you have, I suggest an app called Quick Voice Pro. If I give a 2-minute presentation, an hour, anywhere in between, I record myself. I go back and think of how I could have made that better, or say, hey, that was a good thing to say or not say. Now, I mentioned at the outset, you are an actress. You have been in shows like CSI New York, NCIS, The Unit, Bones, all these shows, and people can go to IMDb to see your full credentials, but just to name a few, how has being an actress helped you in relating to people and in coaching people with, say, the last 2 minutes, Alexa?
Well, it's interesting because I think the most obvious thing is about body language. So when you study acting and you're really diving into a character's challenges, issues, where they're coming from, you ultimately convey those issues through body language. In broad strokes, if someone is insecure, feeling nervous, suddenly they're crossing their legs, they're crossing their arms, they're hunched over a little bit, their heads are down. And so, not that I never teach my clients how to work from the outside in, from body language. I always start from the inside out with their intentions. But on the other hand, I can scan the room and I can read people's body language very, very, very quickly, which comes in hand when I'm working with clients to see where they might be stuck, where they could improve, sort of freeing their energy up and conveying more confidence. And Amy Cuddy does a terrific TED Talk called Your Body Language Shapes Who You Are. And for real estate agents, I would strongly recommend just being familiar with the power of your body language, both to see where you can adjust yourself and also how you can read people better. When you're standing at that open house, I'm just going to start in a very basic place. When people walk into a room, body language really gives you insights into how they're feeling and how you can kind of meet them where they are. So if they're feeling nervous and insecure, they don't want to make eye contact with you, maybe respect that. They want to be left alone to kind of explore on their own. But you have to be able to read people, and body language is a great tool to do that.
And Alexa, let's tell people how they can reach out to you, because you coach people all over the United States and even beyond.
And beyond. It's true. All of my work is over at alexafischer.com. There is the 1,000-watt presence free training program, so that you can sign up there, which is fantastic. And I'm very limited with my private coaching right now because I'm launching a new business called wishbeads.com, wishbeads.com. But all the information is there on my website.
Very nice, ladies and gentlemen. Alexa Fischer. Go to alexafischer.com. Thank you, Alexa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
And there you have it, Alexa Fischer. Check her out on YouTube. Thank you, Alexa, for being on the show. We're coming right back with even more on Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Your host, Bill Namping.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. As sales professionals, we are always trying to improve. I don't care if you're selling real estate, you work for a title company, whatever it is, we are always trying to improve. And we get great feedback. We have our very own sales professor. His name is Mick Goodenough with Stewart Title. He's a sales director. People have been saying we want more of the sales professor on the show. So I think the professor is in.
Please welcome Stewart Title's sales director, Mick Goodenough. As you know, sales professionals must keep learning. The sales professor is in. Here's Sales Minutes with Mick.
And as always, we are so excited when the sales professor is here because he talks about sales tips that apply to real estate, the title business, realtors, and anybody that's in sales, which is everybody. Professor, welcome to the show.
That's great to be here, Bill. Thanks for having me again.
And as always, I never know what you're going to bring forth, which makes it extra exciting. So I will start like we always do. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, it's always a mixed bag with me. Sometimes we talk about the motivations behind selling, and sometimes we talk about specific actual sales techniques. And today is a little more along the lines of the latter. And it's the importance of managing a presentation in sales. As most people know in sales, there's a standard or a basic framework of making a sale, and it's finding leads, qualifying leads, probing and questioning to make sure that what they may need is what you may have to offer, presenting that to them, and then closing the sale, asking for the business. And that's a process that can last anywhere from one call to many, many weeks or months, depending on your industry. So the biggest part, though, for me is when you're face-to-face in front of somebody and you're giving them a presentation that really is going to talk to them about the solutions you offer. And and you have to do that effectively.
Very interesting. Two components that you pass by there are listening is so important, listening and then asking the right questions. Right there, both of those are nuggets of gold if done properly. Those are tools that can be so useful if we learn to hone those skills. Tell us a little bit about listening.
Well, listening is dramatically important, and in many cases, most people, in my career I found this, most people do not practice what we call active listening. Active listening is listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond or reply. And I've fallen into many people do. Everybody does at some point.
No doubt.
You're listening to someone, but you're thinking about what you want to say to them, and you may be missing some key things in what they're saying that you could follow up on. And so that's where the technique, I call it mirroring or repeating back, is when somebody says something to you, your response can be something along the lines of, so what I hear you saying is X, is that correct? And when you do that, the theory goes, and in the practice as well, is they start to believe that you deeply understand what they talked about, and all you really did is repeat back to them what they said was important, so you know there's a connection there. So active listening is really important. But I heard a phrase once that what makes great questioning, or if you're a great questioner, is that you listen to the answers, because you cannot follow up and ask more questions unless you know which way the conversation's going.
No doubt about it. And just the term active listening makes you stop and listen a little bit harder because we've given it a label that says what it does. That's very important.
Well, it certainly is, and I know you practice that on the show. You listen to what your guests say, and then you ask follow-up questions, and that's a really important thing. It puts people at ease, actually. It makes them that there's a connection. They know there's a connection now. They know you are actually listening, and you're not just trying to sell. Selling is so much about listening and offering a solution that works well for both parties. I always say that the best outcome of a sales call is a mutually beneficial outcome. It's good for the person buying, and it's good for the person selling.
Very nice. And I'll tell you, that is so important. And when we talk about, as you mentioned, being on the show here, it's very difficult to do the active listening, believe it or not, because many times as I am listening to what you say or any guest says, I respond. But interestingly enough, and this is all a learning experience, when I hear the show after the fact, several times actually, when I hear it, it's like, wow, I didn't hear that before. And that's what happens when we hear something over and over. That's why I think repetition is so important in learning. But anyway, that's what I experience when I do this. So there's always something else there that you may not have heard if you were listening a little bit better.
It's true, and I can tell you, as we all know, it's so easy to get distracted, even for just a moment. And it's even a bigger issue now with everybody carries around their cell phones in their hands all the time. They're constantly checking that. So if you're in a meaningful conversation, and certainly in a presentation, that's something you never want to do, because it just it forms this disconnect. And really all this is about is this whole process of the sales process is about managing and growing trust so that someone will make a decision with their money and put what they believe the solution is in your hands as the person selling. And so that's where the presentation becomes so important.
And you brought up a great point. In fact, that now that we have these devices, these principles were important 100, 200 years ago in a transaction. No doubt about it. But today, that extra distraction of these phones, it really takes a discipline and a conscious effort to stay away from that and stay tuned in to the good old-fashioned one-on-one, eyeball to eyeball, and listening and responding properly.
You couldn't be more correct. And in fact, you actually now, I believe, stand out when you do not reach for your phone during a conversation, or obviously during a presentation that shouldn't be even part of the thought process. But when you are focusing in on them, even if, and I've been in some presentations where they're reaching for their phone, and by the way, that's probably not a good sign. But the point is you're still engaged, and engagement is what we want to talk about, because if you're not engaged, then you're going to miss something, they're going to miss something, and the decision that should have been made for the benefit of both will not be made.
And when you say the word engagement, Mick, I'm picturing gears meshing together to get something done. It really is that. And the engagement, I don't know about cars or transmissions, but there's a part where you're not in gear, but when it goes into gear, those gears mesh together and smoothly go to the desired goal.
That's exactly right. And the gears, that's a great metaphor, because gears actually serve to propel things forward more effectively and efficiently. There was a whole reason for the invention, and we could go down that cul-de-sac too, because I love that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing about presentations is, first of all, where people end up failing in a presentation is they did not prepare well enough. They did not ask enough questions prior to the presentation to get to the nitty-gritty about what that prospect or customer really wants. They did not put their presentation together in a way that is beneficial for the audience. And then here's the biggest thing, and I think this is true of most salespeople, is they did not practice their presentation. And I'm talking about practicing it multiple times, running through it as if you're giving it, doing it in front of a mirror, anything, so that you can know that you are not going to you won't stumble. They'll ask a question, they'll put everybody back on their heels, but you're ready to go. You have it all figured out ahead of time, because ultimately the presentation should answer all questions that they probably have based on your expertise in the market or in the trade that you're in. You should answer these questions ahead of time, knowing they'll probably ask them, and have them in your presentation. That's a really important fact with presentations.
No doubt about it. And I'm going to tell you something that really has helped me when you're talking about practicing it. I use an iPhone. I have 2 iPhones. I look at them too much. But in the meantime, those iPhones, let me tell you, and I know on other phones you can get a program called Quick Record, I think Quick Record Pro. That's the one I use. And I'm going to tell you, the recording quality is exceptional. And what I do when I give any presentation, whether it's 3 minutes, whether on the radio, of course I hear it, 3 minutes, 1 minute, a 10-minute presentation, I just hit that record button and I go about my presentation, and then I listen to it. That is invaluable, because I hear things that, wow, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have said this, or I go down the checklist and say, hey, I did cover this, that, and the other thing. So recording what we do when we have a presentation, even for one-on-one things, I highly recommend. It has served me very well.
And it should, and it's a great point, Bill. It's funny when I ask people why they don't practice or why they don't record themselves or they practice from the mirror, they say, well, I'm uncomfortable. I make a funny face, or I notice I do this. Well, that's the exact reason why you want to practice. You want to, this. And so either you can mitigate it or you can leverage it. I mean, in some aspects,
Absolutely.
gesturing and facial expressions are incredibly important to what you're saying. It put people at ease. But if you're doing things that make people uncomfortable, then you're never going to advance the sale. So you need to see those things.
There's no doubt about it. The same devices that distract us can serve us in a major way. It's just the discernment to know the difference. Mick, with the last minute, what else should we know?
Well, the important thing is to utilize a technique that I call tagging. I learned this from Daryl Turner, one of my mentors. I've spoken about him many times. And tagging is, as you're going through the presentation, you have to stop and say phrases such as, does that make sense to you? Are you with me? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or do you have any questions? You want to stop and you take the temperature of the call, because people are going to have questions along the way, and you can't just bulldoze your way through the presentation and go, yay, I'm done with my last slide. You have to be very thoughtful, and you also have to look at how they answer it. Body language is important. If people's arms are crossed, we know that's they're not open to the idea. They have some issues. If they're leaning forward, that means they're interested. But how they answer the questions to those tagging questions. Does that make sense? How are we doing so far? Are you with me? Is there any other questions you might have? Those are really important things to do throughout a presentation.
Very important. Taking the temperature as you go along. Very important information. Mick, tell people how they can learn more.
Well, you can just email me at mgoodenough, MGOODENO @stewart.com, and as always, be happy to respond to any questions I get.
Very nice. Ladies and gentlemen, our sales director, Mick Goodenough. Thank you, Mick, for being on the show.
Thanks, Bill.
Most people don't know that Stewart offers business, home, and auto insurance. In fact, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management has been doing that and more for over 10 years. And they partner with many leading insurance companies to offer great rates. They're a national insurance agency operating in all 50 states, delivering a broad range of insurance products. Whether you need a home insurance quote for a client's home closing or your own insurance needs, you can count on them. Call 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is here to help.
And welcome back. Johnny Guitar Watson bringing us in because we're going to talk about insurance. Welcome back to the show, Real Estate Matters. Here is Brittany Tacquard. She's the Chief Awareness Officer and so much more at Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Brittany, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. It's good to be back.
As always, well, let's talk a little bit about insurance. People know Stewart Title, no doubt about that, far and wide, but sometimes they forget that we also, in addition to title insurance, your company, Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, offers regular insurance, commercial insurance, and I say regular as in we all have homes and autos.
Regular insurance.
That's
I love that name.
right, yes.
But it really is. I like how that's actually described, because when we think about insurance,
The day-to-day insurance, yes.
Yes, everything that's basically advertised on TV mostly, because definitely within the real estate world, people know Stewart Title, but when we are talking to anybody on the street, they might not know of Stewart Title just yet. So Stewart Insurance and Risk Management is kind of a gateway into people starting to get to know Stewart Title. We do provide the regular insurance. So for those who maybe aren't as familiar with insurance topics, you have personal insurance services. So we have home, auto, flood, wind, umbrella, all that good stuff. And basically personal insurance services are for the individual. So it's for you and for me.
In fact, I thought it'd be even a better word, Brittany. Let's call it maybe essential insurance, the things that we need in our everyday life for our homes and our cars and even boats, those that have boats out there.
Exactly. Things of that nature, most definitely. And then we also have what are called business insurance services. So that is, if you work within the real estate industry, that's where Stewart Insurance and Risk Management really come into play, because we specialize in that real estate transaction and being to helping everyone at that closing table. So for business insurance, we service real estate brokers, lenders, title agents, attorneys, Everybody who operates in that real estate industry, they need things like professional liability, or another name for that is errors and omissions. So if they make a mistake in their business, if somebody perceives them to have made a mistake, they can get sued for that. And so you want insurance to protect your business for providing that service that they do. Commercial property, commercial auto, cyber liability, all those things are for the business itself. So those are the two parts of our business. And like I said, we really have found a niche in the real estate industry and serving everyone within that realm.
And in fact, you are growing at a rapid pace and a very steady pace too. As you're growing, you're always upgrading the game. In fact, you're always having classes right there for your people in your organization. But also, as realtors hear this show, you also give classes to realtors out there, certainly right here in the Houston area.
Absolutely. We look to teach both internally, our own people, to teach more, to continue learning, but also to teach the industry. And so you're absolutely right. We do continuing education classes. A lot of times people, to keep their license, even insurance professionals, they have to take continuing education classes to keep that license. So we actually offer specific to insurance. The CE classes is another name for them. We offer those to realtors. We're looking to start offering them to lenders as well to keep their license. And basically, a lot of our classes revolve around either risk management and how to protect your business through your actions and just trying to reduce your liability, or also leveraging our personal insurance services if you work with home buyers, which everyone within the real estate industry, typically you're working with home buyers and home sellers. So you can actually leverage our personal insurance services and just insurance in general and your knowledge to better serve your customers.
Very nice. Mm-hmm. And you have a lot of expertise on your staff. People hear the show, they hear Michelle Steffen periodically, mm-hmm. Will Elizondo, Tom Carpentier. These are really people that have been in insurance a long time. They have a passion for the insurance, and they have a passion for the things they know about. I think recently Will talked about cyber liability, mm-hmm. fraudulent instructions, mm-hmm. all these things that sometimes we don't even think about in the real estate transaction, but it's good to be on our guard.
Absolutely. You said something that is absolutely true, is passion. Our people have passion for the industry. Not a lot of people get excited talking about insurance, but we really do because we understand it and we understand the value it provides our customers in terms of the items that you just talked about, cyber liability, fraudulent instructions. For people that work within the industry, you might have heard these terms, wire fraud as well. And basically, it's important for, especially if you're working with an insurance professional, to ensure you that you're staying on top of these industry threats because the industry is constantly changing. The real estate industry is always changing, and so there's new threats always arising. I know that Tom Carpentier, the one that you just mentioned, our president of Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, he always brings the stat out that there is at any day, any point in time, there's $1 trillion running through closing accounts.
Wait a second. Let's say that again.
Funds.
$1 trillion is in flux, if you will.
Yes.
It's out there every day?
Every day within that. The real estate industry is running through settlement accounts. So that makes this industry and everybody who operates in it a huge target, definitely. So there's risks that just surround that, just being involved in this industry. There's risks that you're subjected to. And then on top of that, there's some mistakes that you might be subjected to. And then combined, those really increase your liability. So we just want to make sure that everyone is doing their diligence and managing their risk. And then as a backstop, having insurance to protect them. Because the more that you build yourself in this industry, or even as an individual, the more you build yourself, the more not only of a target you are, but also the more you have to protect. And so you want to make sure that you are properly insured.
And also look how things have changed. Some of these things that we're talking about, this kind of money being out there and the cyber and the fraudulent considerations, these weren't even thought of 30 years ago.
Exactly.
And now it's almost like if you go back to an analogy of take the Wild West, if you will, there's a stagecoach that left with a lot of money. It leaves one town and it goes to another town. But during that trip, it is vulnerable to the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And indeed, it is a good reminder to know that there are people out there. So we need to have our risk covered. Let's tell people how they could see the full menu of the things that you offer, both with the personal and the commercial offerings.
So you can go to Stewart.com. We have our very own insurance tab, and there you will see.
It's a beautiful tab.
It really is. So we have personal insurance services and business insurance services on there, and you can see the full menu there depending on what you're looking for as an individual.
Stewart.com. So easy. And I will expand on that, and that is Stewart. Our website, Stewart.com, really is incredible. People that are listening out there, even if you haven't closed with Stewart Title, you may have closed with some other title company or with Stewart Title years ago, but you never thought, hey, I wonder what that title policy does. A lot of people don't even think about that, but on our website, even if you're not planning on buying or selling anytime soon, you can go back just to see, I wonder what that title policy that I have in my box from 10 years ago, I wonder what that protects me from. And it's good to know that. And Stewart.com has a fascinating site with a lot of information. And, of course, on that very front page, they could find out the things that you are offering in a magnificent way. Also, let's tell them again, what's the phone number there?
866-845-4676 is the number.
And the beauty of when we call, and all these things that we've talked about here for the last few minutes, Brittany, I think they can raise questions. And it's so easy because insurance, as we started out, can be very complicated.
Yes.
And we'll never know all the terms. The average person won't know all the terms that you guys know as you do this every day. So it's so simple. You can just call and make sure that you have the proper coverage or you're getting the right policy. Your people are answering the phone, and it's easy to talk to someone at your company.
Yes, that is true.
High levels of service.
You mentioned that we are growing at a fast pace, but there's nothing that will ever replace an actual person answering the phone. Because as you grow, sometimes it's, hey, we're getting so many inbound calls, let's go ahead and stick a machine there. But that's not what we do. We really believe in that customer service and providing that top notch.
Right down to the clean desk policy. Brittany, one more time on the phone number.
866-845-4676.
And you are listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. We're coming right back with even more. Stay with us.
If you've been in the real estate industry for any length of time, you know unexpected and costly events can happen. Safeguard yourself against the unexpected with Real Estate Errors and Omissions Insurance, or E&O, through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Not all E&O insurance policies are created equal. How confident are you that your current E&O policy fully protects you? Stewart Insurance and Risk Management offers expertise in the real estate industry and tailors your coverage to correctly manage your risk. With Stewart Insurance and Risk Management, facing the unexpected just became a lot easier. Safeguard your future with real estate E&O insurance through Stewart Insurance and Risk Management. Call today at 866-845-4676. That's 866-845-4676. Or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com to request tailored insurance options for you and your business.
And welcome back. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. So glad you joined us. Bill Nampick here, hosting the show and sometimes even developing business. That's right, Stewart Title. We talked about insurance, and you know Stewart Title. We've been in business over 124 years, started in Galveston, Texas, and not all title companies are the same. No, they are not. Let me tell you about 4 things to think about when you choose a title company. Number 1, stability. As I mentioned, we're in business over 124 years. What does that mean to you? That means that should you need help 10, 20, 5 minutes down the road, we're going to be there for you. That's right, Stewart, we are there for you. And should there be trouble, we have the financial strength to take care of that problem. When I say financial strength, we are not strong because I say we are. We are strong because independent parties such as AM Best, Demotech, these are companies that rate financial companies, and we get the highest of ratings, A+. So we have financial strength because they say we do, and we've earned that. Very important. We talked about security a little bit already in our insurance segment, and security protocols are always in place at Stewart Title. So we are handling that information with a reverence that you give us. Social security numbers, income statements, all those things. So we do that for you. In addition, I mentioned the clean desk policy right down to the simple things. So when we leave our desk, we do not leave that information on the desk. So we stand forth to help you, and you're saying, Bill, that was only 3 things. Here's number 4. That is great communications. We do our best to communicate with you in a magnificent way at all times. So as you're working with our escrow officers and anybody processing your real estate transaction, we're right there for you. You can call us. We'll communicate with you in the best way possible, on time, all the time. So reach out to one of our offices, Stewart Title. We have about 30 right here in Houston. And if you're saying, hey, Bill, what office are you at? I am at the Kirby office, 3201 Kirby Drive. Just Google Stewart Kirby, and we will be glad to handle your real estate transaction. Should it be residential or commercial, and we're inside the loop, so we're always there to help you. Should you be in Conroe, anywhere else, you can reach out to any Stewart Title office, and of course, all around the United States. Many people don't know we're an international company, traded on the New York Stock Exchange. The symbol is STC. Check it out. The other nice thing about that, when I put that symbol on my iPhone, it always tells me news about the company, just like any other stock does. So, having said all that, check us out, Stewart Title. And if you've been closing with Stewart, we thank you so much. Triple thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And now she is back. We're going to talk to a real estate professional who just went over to Martha Turner Sotheby's International Realty. Her name is Beth Cassidy. In addition, Brittany Tacquard is joining us for the last part of the show. Ladies, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I bet people right now are Googling Stewart Title on Kirby Drive, 3201 Kirby, right?
I bet they are.
At least one person is, we hope.
Hopefully not while they're driving.
Hopefully not while they're driving. But it's so important. I think we brought it up when we first talked, Beth, about team. It's important as a real estate professional. You want to have the right title companies, home warranty companies. You want to be in that right circle of people that are there to assist your buyers and sellers, right?
Yes, definitely. I do have my favorites. Stewart Title is one of them. And I've had great experiences, so that's good to say. I mean, you need that support, and you need everybody working together and getting along well and making a smooth transaction, because sometimes it can be a little bumpy and people get emotional and, all that's involved.
Yeah, for home buying, it's an emotional experience.
Yes.
And I know part of what we're doing is we're actually partnering with real estate agents and lenders and Stewart Title.
For the events, you're saying?
Yeah, for actually hosting home buyer seminars to inform these home buyers of you need a good team behind you, because not only is this emotional experience, but it's kind of confusing when you're a first-time home buyer. And so we really want to make it easy for them. We want to make the process seamless. And so I know we're going out and doing that for home buyers and partnering with those people. But I just had a question for Beth, as far as what are some things that you do to make the process seamless for your customers?
Well, I put them in the right hands with the right people that I feel confident in, and it's almost like it takes a village to get to closing sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
It does. And you're in communication with so many different people on different levels. And I've had clients say to me, "Well, how much exactly am I going to have to put?" And they start talking numbers to me, and I go, "That's not my job. That's so and so's over." There's certain things that you can assist with, and not others. And so it's nice to have people you know and trust and have a history with that can get them through and make them feel at ease, because people are freaking out at times.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like a
especially-
therapist too,
Especially if there's a bump along the way, and
Yes.
sometimes things do happen. So, yeah, people do get nervous, and they also get really excited when it's all over and
Exactly.
everything works out in a seamless
And we
way.
toast like sometimes at closing and have champagne, and everybody's so happy, and
that's good.
they get their key. It's finally gets to that point, and it's such a great feeling to have it all come together, and everybody's celebrating, and it's like you say, it's the biggest investment somebody makes, and the most emotional as well. So I do say sometimes I wear different hats, because I'm, you have to have really good people skills and be able to calm people down, and even if you're freaking out yourself, you let them know everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
We're all good.
Keeping those lines of communication open at all times
But
between
it's-
every single person, the whole village, right?
But it is fun, because it's always a different home, different people, different transaction. It's never boring, and it's rewarding, very rewarding, as I'm sure you know.
Every transaction is like a fingerprint.
Yes.
They're all different. And, Beth, let's tell people how they can reach you.
Beth Cassidy, 832-646-2982.
And one more time, Brittany, if they want some of that insurance and that fine service, that excellent service.
If you want some of that insurance, you can just call 866-845-4676, and we are happy to help.
Indeed you are, and they can go to Stewart.com, find out all the offerings right there. You have been listening to Real Estate Matters. Thank you, ladies, for being on the show. Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, your host, Bill Nampick, and yes, the show doesn't end, really, because you can go to Stewart.com/Houston to hear all the shows. It's kind of like Real Estate Matters on demand. That's right, Stewart.com/Houston. That is the complete show archive. Check it out, and we'll check out next week. We're going to have even more fun right here on the show. Some great guests coming up. Stay with us. Stewart.com/Houston. And until next week, thanks for listening.